Watch the cursor. It moves down to the pricing table, stops, drifts back up the page, then comes down again. 22 seconds of that. Then the tab closes. You can replay that clip as many times as you like, and it will tell you the same thing every time, which is that something happened here and not one word about why. That is the ceiling of watching somebody. A usability test is a driving test. It proves a person can operate the thing. It says nothing about whether they would ever choose to own one. So if the question in your head is why somebody hesitated, and not simply where, the best user testing alternative is user intuition.
Now, user testing built a category around that clip, and the clip is worth having. Watching a person move through a prototype is the fastest way to find the button nobody can locate, and the step everybody skips. And for a design team shipping an interface, that evidence settles arguments no opinion ever will. So the case here is not that watching is wrong. Watching is necessary, and it is incomplete. The trouble starts when the recording is the entire deliverable, because a recording answers the first half of the question, and the second half is where the money sits. User testing sells that first half on annual contracts that buyer-reported references put somewhere between $12,000 and $100,000.
So the instinct is to go and find the same thing for less. There are good tools that will hand you sessions at a lower price, and every one of them inherits the same ceiling, because the limit was never what the recording cost. Add heat maps and the limit holds, add more sessions and it holds, and run 100 of them, and you will have 100 clips of people pausing in roughly the same spot. That tells you the spot is hard. It still does not tell you what any of them were thinking while they sat there. Behavior is evidence that a problem exists. It is not an explanation of one, and nobody has ever hovered over a button in a way that spelled out their reasoning. Now, take that same moment and hand it to user intuition. A participant walks through the prototype, or the live site, and an AI moderator is in a session with them, asking while it happens. When the cursor stalls, the question arrives right then, while the reason is still in the room. Then it keeps going. It asks what they expected, what they were comparing it against, and what would have had to be true for them to carry on. And it stays on that thread past the 5th or 6th follow-up, the way a strong researcher does. You still get the session recording, so the evidence is still yours. By default, the moderator knows the page is in view and knows a click landed, including the angry ones, and adding a one-line snippet to a site you control lets it see element-level clicks, mouse movement, scrolling, and typing as well. Studies start at $150, and on Professional, an interview is about $25. 3 of them are free before any card is involved. Results come back in roughly a day, drawn from a 4 million person vetted panel across 50 languages, and user intuition is rated 5 out of 5 on G2. So take the clip from a minute ago and run it through both. The recording says this: the participant reached the pricing page at 1 minute 40, scrolled twice, paused for 22 seconds, and left. A careful team turns that into a finding about the pricing page. The interview on that same flow lands somewhere else entirely. Asked what was going on in the pause, he says he was working out whether the thing would run on what his company already had.
Asked what stopped him finding out, he says he would have had to go and ask a colleague and admit he did not know his own setup well enough. Asked whether that was uncomfortable, he says yes. Asked why, he says he was the one who pushed to trial it. So the pricing page was never the problem. An unanswered integration question was the problem, and a man not wanting to look uninformed in front of his own team is why it stayed unanswered. No heat map has that sentence in it.
Several other names belong on that shortlist, and each of them earns its place on a different job. Choose Maze when the work is unmoderated usability at volume. Choose Lookback when a live moderator needs to sit with the participant. Choose dscout when the question runs over weeks and belongs in a diary study. Choose Listen Labs when you want the engagement managed for you. Choose Wynter when the thing under test is B2B messaging rather than an interface. Choose Respondent when recruitment is the whole job and the research itself is already handled. Every one of those is a defensible pick. What changes the pick is needing the reason a person stopped from somebody you can be sure is a person. There is a quieter cost to running research as video. A recording is the least searchable object in the building. Nobody opens a 9-month-old session file to check whether this argument has come up before, so the same question gets researched twice a year by people who each believe they are asking it first. User intuition files every interview into the Customer Intelligence Hub, where the material is queryable rather than merely stored. The onboarding sessions stay useful when pricing is being rewritten, and the churn interviews answer back when somebody proposes a new plan. The work compounds instead of expiring in a folder nobody reopens. So put this against a recording you already own. Find the session where somebody stalled and the team wrote a theory on a whiteboard instead of an answer. Run 3 interviews on that same flow with user intuition, free, before any card is involved. Then set the 2 artifacts next to each other and see which one your team stops arguing about. If the recording was enough on its own, you have lost nothing, and you will know inside a day. If it was not, you are holding the sentence the take was never going to give you, from somebody vetted. That is the entire comparison, including when the answer is still user testing. Start at www.userintuition.ai.